Hey guys, so in this video, I'm going to be explaining how we use this MIDI controller right here to control our Ableton sets on a Sunday morning using Ableset. So if you're setting up a similar setup at maybe your church, hopefully this helps you out, but this is specifically for our volunteers who are getting trained on Ableton. So follow along. I'll try and explain every single button and every single knob. Love you guys. Good luck. All right, so let's get into this. So if you're a volunteer on our team, this video is meant to help you feel confident, for things to be clear about when we use Ableton in our live worship settings. If you're not on our team and you're just trying to get better at running tracks, leading moments well, or understanding how to use Ableton more musically, you're welcome here too. This isn't about doing things perfect. It's about building systems that help serve the room, serve people, and allow us as MDs to stay present in the room. So whether you're learning this for the first time or just refining your approach, I'm glad you're here. So all right, guys, this is the Akai LPD8. I've tried out a bunch of different MIDI controllers, and let's be honest, they all work. It just depends on, I guess, what you're looking for, how big the form factor, I guess, is for all of these, different tools. Maybe you have more room to have I think it's the Launch Control XL. Those are great. But for me, this works just because it's small and it's not perfect. It's definitely not. And we'll kind of get into that. But this is how I use it. So before we get into any of the controls and what they do, I did want to just say really quick that if you've never worked with a drum pad before, you do want to hit them pretty confidently and just make sure you're not going to slam it or anything like that, but soft or hesitant taps can cause mistriggers or even triggering the same thing twice. So make sure just to hit things with confidence, and that will give you some predictable results. So let's talk about this top row first. You'll see one, play, stop, and then a song with an arrow, which just means next song. They're pretty self-explanatory, but let's break them down a little bit. So number one, this will put your play marker at the beginning of the arrangement. It'll put it to song number one. So you'll use this right at the beginning of service. A lot of times right after a service is ending, I'll press it so that it is already set to the beginning. I feel like I don't need to explain what play and stop means. So let's just jump over to next song. Right next to that, you'll see a song with an arrow on it. The way that I build out sets is I will normally have either a automated transition from one song to the next, or at the end of a song, I'll have a pad and click loop at the end, just so that we can have enough time to make any decisions if we want to be flexible there or pass to the room. This next song button, when you hit it, it just moves you on to the next song. Pretty self-explanatory. And of course, you can get feedback from Ableset. That is right there on the left. That whenever you press next song, it'll show you what next song is coming up. So let's talk about the bottom row. So the bottom row is basically for creating space or having flexibility on the fly. So loop on lets you loop whatever section that you're in. So if the worship leader wants to stay somewhere a little longer, pass to the room, repeat a section. This can keep things moving without actually stopping the track. So when you're ready to leave the loop, you hit loop off and the arrangement just continues. And because we use Ableset, the band also hears the loop specific cues. So it keeps everybody on the same page. So if you're in verse and normally you would go to chorus, but you're looping the verse, it'll, instead of counting you into the chorus again, it'll count you into the verse again, which is pretty awesome. Shout out to the guys at Ableset for that one. Next, let's talk about these left and right arrows. These guys let you jump sections. So these are a little bit more, I would say, advanced. Sometimes you can use them in a pinch, if maybe the band is getting off time or maybe the singer missed their cue by a little bit. You can always catch them on the next section. But these are, I would say, a little bit more difficult. You do need to keep in mind the quantization that Ableton is on, but it's incredibly doable. You can definitely do it. It's something you would use, honestly, really carefully, and just listen to the band. Or you can just use it to maneuver around the song. Let's say you're in rehearsal and somebody wants to go over chorus 2 again. You can use them to just select the section, kind of jump to that section without going over to the computer, which is pretty cool. So let's talk about these knobs over here on the right. So this is where Ableton can become an instrument rather than just being an amazing playback tool. This is where you can shape energy and emotion and space in like real time. So let's talk about the reverb. This first knob controls reverb on the tracks minus the percussion. I use this to wash things out and turn tracks into like more of like a pad. It's an easy way to change the feel of a moment without changing the arrangement. And here's what that sounds like. Next is the Pro Presenter knob. This knob turns automatic lyrics on and off. Super helpful in the morning when Pro Presenter is loading like sermon notes. So left is off and right is on. Here is what it looks like. Next over here is lights. So this does the same thing for lights. It doesn't turn lights off. It disables the automatic lighting. Here's what changes when I turn that off. Awesome. So let's talk about this percussion knob. So this knob controls anything in a specific track that is percussive, obviously like shakers, anything like that. But it's not a volume. It's actually a filter. So instead of turning percussion down in volume, I'm actually just like pulling the highs out, those like higher frequencies. It helps it sit under the band instead of driving, like driving the room, I would say. So listen to how that changes the feel right here in this track. Very cool. So let's talk about this tracks knob. So it's the same idea with the tracks. We're filtering instead of like lowering volume. It lets the band decide the energy rather than just the track. So I actually picked this up from the guys at Red Rocks and Belonging Co. And it allows you, again, to control the energy of whatever section that you're in. Again, this can help you with spontaneity. If you're in a chorus and the worship leader wants to pass through the room, you could pull down the tracks filter just a little bit to take the energy out so that the band can determine, okay, how much energy do we need to support the worship leader and what they're trying to talk about. So that's going to sound like this. So let's talk about this pad knob. I actually keep a pad running under most of the service. And it's actually a super bright pad. And I basically, it's the same thing. It's on a filter and I use it and shape it depending on the moment. So like for transitions, for welcome, for underscoring. So here's me playing with that in real time. So let's talk about cues. So this knob controls all of our cues. So if I want to count people in myself, or like, I don't know, simplify things, I can pull this down, and it is a volume. So here's cues in and cues out.
Chorus, drums, 3, 4.
Next up is the click. This controls the click volume. So like during underscoring, I usually pull click all the way out so that I can kind of like respond naturally to like what the speaker is saying. But when it's time for the band to come in, I'll actually kick this right back in, and I use it as a cue to cue in the rest of the band to come in with me. But yeah, that's pretty much it. If you're on our team, hopefully this makes Ableton feel a little bit more predictable and less stressful. And if you're just watching to learn or grab some ideas, hope there was something helpful in there. Yeah, the goal really isn't to chase moments, guys. It's just to be prepared enough that when moments do happen, you're ready for them. So thanks for watching, guys. Again, if you have any questions or anything like that, feel free to reach out. I'm here to help. Thank you, guys.